Friday the 13th, the game, was such a promising and fun game. A game that had so much potential to be the best asymmetrical horror game ever made, however, was ruined by lawsuits, hackers, and bugs. Today, I will be talking about Friday the 13th, the game. Before I start this video, I want to sincerely apologize for not uploading in a while. I have been really busy with school and I don't have time to make videos anymore. I will still try to keep uploading, but it will definitely not be as often. Alright, now let's get back to the video. The story starts in 2012 when IllFonic, a relatively unknown game developer at the time, started working on a project called Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp. It was a game that was set in Camp Forest Green and was focused on a bunch of campers surviving a killer and stalking them in the woods. Sound familiar? 3 years later, in 2015, Sean S. Cunningham, the guy who co-created and edited the very first Friday the 13th movie, came to IllFonic and offered them a license to transform their game into Friday the 13th, the game. Keep in mind that this had not been told to the public. IllFonic started a Kickstarter campaign and a backer kit campaign to fund the game's development. Overall, $422,866 were raised by 18,068 backers in backer kit and about $823,704 from 12,128 backers on Kickstarter, collecting in total about $1,246,570 from both platforms, becoming the 179th most crowdfunded project of all time. It was obvious that people were hyped for this game. On October 13th, 2015, it was officially announced to the public that Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp had evolved into Friday the 13th, the game, with an announcement trailer released by Gun Media on their YouTube channel the same day. Gun Media are the publishers/developers of the game. They kept hype for the game by continuously releasing pre-alpha footage of the game, early game models, and even motion capture footage of Kane Hodder creating animations for Jason. The very first alpha gameplay was seen at PAX South 2016 in January and E3 2016 in June. They kept posting similar videos to these with different kill animations, gameplay, and much more to keep the hype for the game going. With many pushbacks and delays, the game was finally digitally released on May 26, 2017. The game had mixed reviews. Caitlin Cook of Destructoid gave the game a 6.5 out of 10, saying, "There aren't many games that can offer a camaraderie aspect to the survival horror genre, and Friday the 13th delivers in that regard. It could certainly use a lot more fine-tuning and adjustments, but for now, it delivers on a solidly campy experience." Everyone enjoyed the gameplay, however, the game was riddled with hundreds of bugs that stopped players from fully enjoying the game. Speaking of the gameplay, this game is an asymmetrical horror game where 8 people go into a game. One of those people will be randomly selected to not be a survivor, but to be Jason. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves and let's start with the survivors first. The survivor's goal is to escape the camp by any means necessary. This can be done by fixing one of 2 cars that spawn on the map, calling for the police and escaping with them, fixing a boat and swimming away. Each of these tasks is no easy feat, as there are multiple steps and things that you have to do for each method. For cars, you have to find a car battery, gasoline, and find car keys. For the boat, you have to find gasoline and a rotor, and so forth. You have to have good teamwork and communication with all of your teammates to be able to do these things. I really like that you can find walkie-talkies throughout the map, so you can speak with every survivor who also has one. It gives the opportunity to work as a team. There are up to 15 different counselors you can choose to play as, with each having different stats. Stats like stamina, stealth, speed, strength, repair, and a couple of others. Picking a character that will fit you and your certain playstyle is very important. If you like to be aggressive and attack Jason head on, you should pick a character that has a high strength stat. If you like being stealthy and just want to focus on completing the tasks and escaping, you should pick a character with high repair and stealth stats. The way that survivors can fight against Jason is by looting all of the houses on the map and finding weapons, pocket knives, and firecrackers. All of these things can stun Jason and give you time to run away. It's very important to have almost like a second life, cause Jason is already powerful enough. I also want to briefly transition to the weapons and how they are more important than people really think. Each weapon has different stats, just like counselors. They have durability, stun, and damage. Some weapons are very powerful and can knock Jason down very easily, but they will break very easily. There are also two firearms, the shotgun and the flare gun. Each has only one shot, but if you can hit Jason with them, they will knock him down for a long time and will deal a lot of damage to him. Some of you might be confused about why am I talking so much about damage and Jason. Jason is unkillable, you might say, but in this game, he is. If you perform a very specific set of actions with your teammate, you are able to get Jason down to his knees and kill him. This will happen very rarely as it is very hard to pull off, not even talking about doing it with randoms. Overall, the survivor experience is very fun, even though you are unmatched compared to Jason. Speaking of Jason, there are 9 Jasons for you to choose whom to play as. Each Jason is represented from the 2nd film to the 9th, although one of the Jasons was a Kickstarter exclusive given to only the people that backed the game before it came out, which is really nice of the devs. Each Jason looks different and has a different weapon from the other, but also has different stats. Stats like sense, shift, defense, morph, running, and many more. These stats can change the recharge rate of the powers, change the speed of the powers, increase how many knives you can carry, and even if the Jason can run, cause not all of them can. Each Jason has 3 skills that they are good at and 3 that they are not so good at. So pay attention to these and your playstyle while picking a Jason to play as these are very important. Jason's goal is to kill as many survivors as possible before the timer runs out. Jason has many different abilities that will help him kill these survivors. Abilities like Morph, which just let him teleport anywhere on the map, Sense, which gives him temporary ESP and shows him if there are any survivors near him, Shift, which lets him move really quickly for a short duration of time, Stalk, which mutes Jason's team when he is near someone, allowing him to trick survivors into thinking he has left and then catching them off guard. All of these abilities have a certain timer that regenerates them and lets them be used again. There is one more ability that when fully charged up can be used for the rest of the game, Rage. Rage enhances all of the other abilities, lets you walk right through doors and walls, and lets you take more damage before being knocked down. The rage meter is slowly filled during the game by breaking down doors, windows, and walls and taking damage from survivors. Jason also has throwing knives that let you deal damage from a long distance. You can only carry a certain amount of knives on you, however, can find and take more knives that are scattered all throughout the map. His last ability of Jason is his traps. Jason can place a camouflage trap that when a survivor walks in will be stuck there and will have to struggle to get out of it. You will also be instantly notified of this on your map and by the pings coming from the survivor. There are also generators scattered throughout the map that Jason can destroy. Destroying them will cut all the power in the neighboring houses and increase the fear of the survivors. Jason's main ability to kill survivors is his executions. When in range, Jason can grab a survivor and perform a gruesome execution kill. Every Jason has different types of kills. You can buy new executions and equip them on your Jason, which adds to the replayability of the game as you want to see and experience all of them. There are also environmental executions. These can be done at a specific spot like a water fountain, door, knife laying on a table, radio, and even a toilet. These kills give you more XP. I also want to briefly talk about the atmosphere. The game was very immersive. A big reason why is the amazing atmosphere the devs have created. You really felt like you were there in the 80s in the summer camp. The music also added a lot to the tension to encounters with Jason, especially since each Jason has different chase music. I also really appreciate the small details they added, like when you're playing as a survivor and you come across one of your fellow survivors' dead bodies, there would be a sudden change in music and a very intense music starts playing, which adds a lot to the immersion and feel of the game.
Is that a person?
So why was this game so special? How was it different from Dead by Daylight? The game had variety. Playing as a survivor wasn't boring, as you didn't just have to do generators all game. You could choose how you wanted to escape. Maybe you even wanted to try to go after Jason. It also lets the survivors fight back against the killer. Playing as Jason was even more fun. You actually felt powerful and couldn't get looped by a survivor with 3,000 more hours than you. Sorry, my DBD rage came out. While writing the script for this video, I understood that this game is very complex. Everything that you pick up and use has different stats. The characters, maps, Jasons, everything is very detailed. You could see that the developers loved the franchise and didn't want to make this game just for money. It was a passion project for them. So why did this game fail? In 2016, Victor Miller, the Friday the 13th writer, filed a lawsuit against Sean S. Cunningham so that he could get legal control over the franchise. Because of this, the game was put on hold. The devs couldn't release any new updates or content until this lawsuit ended. The game was abandoned for 2 years. During this time, the player base slowly died as the game was getting boring and repetitive. There was also a growing issue with hackers plaguing the game. On November 2020, the devs released a blog post that said that they will be officially shutting down the servers as they couldn't wait any longer for the lawsuit to finish and had to move on to making new projects. People would still be able to play online, but only through peer-to-peer connections. Today, the game is pretty much dead as only around 300 people play it, and it is still filled with blatant hackers that fly around the map and kill everyone instantly. Thank you for watching today's video.